As you know, the 60s were full of transcendental events and reforms that changed the life of American people. But today, I'm just going to focus on one of them, the Equal Pay Act. 50.8% of the United States population in the 60s were women. Although women's population was bigger than men's, they were repressed, talking about their rights and opportunities. By the 60s, most of American women were expected to follow a path, to marry in their early 20s, to have children, and to be housewives for the rest of their life. Women had limited opportunities. Careers and jobs were categorized according to sex, and women had lower rates of wage. Shortly, the woman was considered as a servant who had to do all what society or her husband wanted. A lot of women became annoyed with this situation and decided to manifest against discrimination and unequal opportunities. Things were getting worse and worse in America, and it was necessary for the government to attend the demands of the women. President John F. Kennedy decided to appoint Esther Peterson, a labor activist, to head the Women's Bureau in the Department of Labor. Peterson was a very smart woman. She played a very important role in the reforms for gender equity because she was responsible for administering gender-issue labor law. Then, she urged President Kennedy to create the Presidential Commission on the Status of Women in order to develop recommendations for achieving equality. Esther took part in a successful campaign to bring an Equal Pay Act to the Congress, and she submitted a draft bill of an Equal Pay Act to Congress on behalf of the Kennedy administration. This draft bill influenced the decision of the Congress, and by 1963, this act was passed. Therefore, the Equal Pay Act was the first step to achieve women's equality in the social, cultural, and economic areas. Nowadays, women's participation in politics and economy is greater than it was in the 60s. But there is still much to do in order to stop discrimination against women.